The line, loving to thy ghostly spouse, is from the book, The Cloud of Unknowing. It is about Christian mysticism, and the ghostly spouse is God, and the author warns his student, to whom he writes, that the rare insight is not for everyone. I think I have found the treasure inside the book, but, confess, I had hardly read the book, nor was able, because the ancient style of the prose, and the wall of words, were too severe for an impatient student, the student being me. In my own words, simplified and condensed, the writer appears to talk about the mind of the brain and finding God, that is, the way we think. He suggests, in our prayer, to dismiss our intellect, reaching God through a sort of unknowing, thinking nothing, for a moment, except the reach and feel of the heart. And, he goes on, that in this meditation, to cover all thoughts that enter the mind, or bother the mind, in a cloud of forgetting as if they had never been done by you or anyone else. Now I think there is something very valuable here in all of this, because when we interface with God, the thoughts in our biological mind stand there too, either to our advantage or to our hindrance. The path to God is open, but it is a dirt road, from our end, and there are thistles and thorns that object, and honey and sugar that distract, on the side, through which we must pass. Now to me, the anomalous author and his insight passes wisely by, and safely by, the precipice of non-dualism, and non-dualism is dangerous, an abyss where emptiness is disguised as fullness. I focus on God, and for a moment, see myself totally new, and exquisite, forgetting all, and seeing only the new. Now I saw something in my inner mind, in the spirit, a while back, an astonishing thing. Something like a transparent tendril or tentacle, with a fierce grasp at its end, where it held the self or soul of the human, and this self or soul was gripped powerlessly and fantastically, being swung back and forth by the stirring or will of the tendril. The tendril is the biological brain and more specifically, the random thoughts that queue along endlessly and demand attention from the self. The soul, apparently, is linked to the brain. The way to escape the tendril is the habit of stillness of mind, thinking nothing as it were, in the setting of awareness of our exquisite self in the face of God. It is important that we are not against our brain, or our thoughts, but let us help our brain to help our soul. I remember here as I write, an image or picture of an angel in my inner mind who said to me, as though he was puzzled, saying, "Don't you know that all of heaven is inside you?" Now, on my end, it is important to say that heaven is not just a thing we conjure up, heaven does exist in its fullness out there, heaven is in both places, and I admit I can hardly compute it, and sometimes I feel so small. The angel's question, or statement, must be, at once, a terrible and wide compass that points to our great capacity, and our little understanding.